Jimmy Neutron! Boy genius, everyone loves him so much. Jimmy Neutron, one of the smartest people on the face of the earth, right? He's capable of making incredible, revolutionary machines and inventions. He's 12 years old by the end of the last season, and I think he's the biggest piece of shit to ever walk on the planet. Honestly, Jimmy Neutron, this big-headed peanut Donkey Kong looking fucker, is one of the biggest assholes in television history. Have you ever really stopped to consider how much of a piece of shit Jimmy was? Have you ever really stopped to consider that? Jimmy Neutron was the cause of like a majority of the main problems that made up the movies and the show. Most of the problems were his fault. Completely his fault. They were hilarious, but when you stop to think about it, a lot of the fuck-ups that put people around him in immediate danger and potentially world-ending situations were because of Jimmy. And not only that, he seemed to ignore responsibility for these problems that he caused and was okay with other people suffering around him to either fix his mistake or just to enjoy himself during the time he had. I know we're coming at you quick with this shit, but I wanted to make this quick video pointing out some of the things that Jimmy Neutron, that jar-headed piece of shit, did during the show. It's nothing fancy, and none of this is in any particular order, but I'm gonna just go ahead and list off some of the things Jimmy did to show you how much of a piece of shit he was. Hooked everybody on drugs and enslaved them. Do you remember the episode Crunch Time? Okay, first of all, at the beginning of the episode, Jimmy is forcing Carl to pick between two different doors to try to test his memory to find cheese. Picking the wrong door caused Carl to be fucking electrocuted by a high voltage charge in the doorknob, and he did it to Carl 77 times before we actually get to the beginning of the scene. Anyways, Jimmy makes this like purple candy that's so addictive, the entire town goes apeshit for the candy. Like, everyone can't get enough of it. Carl and Sheen break into his house at like 3 in the morning to ask him if he has more candy, like crack addicts. Like, do you have any candy? Eventually, people are so addicted that they do his bidding. You know what he does in reaction? He goes with it. He treats them like animals. He's basically enslaving them to do his bidding and tossing candy at them to make them keep going. He has people fanning him. He has women on his fucking shoulders. They're bringing him drinks. They're treating him like a god. He makes Miss Fowl, his teacher, get on her knees and beg him like a baby for candy. And he makes Libby and Cindy fight over a single piece on the floor. And he's totally fine with all this happening. But he only decides to fix the problem after they start turning on him and fighting back and wanting the candy. If that hadn't happened and they continued being obedient, he would have fucking kept doing this shit. He only stopped it when it became an inconvenience. Oh, and better yet, you know how he fixes this problem? He gives them electroshock therapy. He feeds them versions of the candy that cause explosive shocks in their mouths, torturing them until they, like, Pavlovianly learn to stop eating candy. He conditions them to stop doing it. What a shithead. He makes everyone sick permanently. So Jimmy decides that going to school is for fucking losers and chumps. So he invents this like nicotine patch that when you put it on yourself, on your skin, it makes you sick as fuck. But when you take it off, it reverts you back to normal. So basically he's used lying to people to get out of school and other shit. So he lies to his mom about being sick, and then he kicks back all day with like burgers and sodas, like living the life, like fuck school, I don't need that stupid shit, I'm a smart motherfucker, I don't need to go down there. Eventually he shows his friends the patches, and he completely undermines their education, and he teaches them that missing school and lying to your parents is totally a-okay, as long as you feel like doing it. This means that eventually no kids show up to Miss Fowl's class, and Miss Fowl has like a mental breakdown pretending to be the students in her own class because she misses them and loves them that much. Except for Sheen. She clearly says, I miss you all except for Sheen. But anyways, the patches melt into everyone's skin, making them permanently sick. So Jimmy has to shrink himself alongside Sheen to go inside of Carl's body to be able to create a vaccine, while Carl asks Jimmy, is this legal? And then Jimmy says, in certain states it depends on what you mean by legal. So he eventually gets everyone back to normal, only after they had to each endure like physical pain from home remedies from their parents. Jimmy doesn't think ahead in the future, he just does what he wants on impulse. Remember when Jimmy caused an ice age? So the boys in the entire town are dealing with a heat wave, right? And the girls are sitting in their pool having a great time, giving them some bants, you know, making them feel bad. So in response, you know what he does? Escalates it to a fucking 100. He creates a rocket that magnifies Carl's sunblock spray, and he fills the sky with SPF 9000 sunblock and completely blocks out the sky. To put that into perspective, what SPF 9000 would theoretically be capable of doing, SPF 15 sunscreen blocks 93% of UV rays, SPF 30 blocks 97%, and SPF 50 blocks 98%. So imagine how strong SPF 9000 would be, and he polluted the sky and environment with these fucking chemicals. At one point, the temperature drops as low as negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so fucking cold that his mom's hair can chip off in chunks. His parents honestly aren't even like surprised. His parents have told him shit like this before. They've told him, haven't we warned you about tampering with unstable structures of an unstable system? Jimmy has messed with the nature of the planet before, and his parents have to remind him not to do it again. Everyone essentially reverts into savages. Most of the children speak in broken English. Miss Fowl is okay with sacrificing Jimmy to a glacier to stop the winter. The parents around the town go out like fucking maniacs and go out to hunt caribou to make their families live another day, because they're forced to do that because of Jimmy's mistake. And Jimmy solves the Ice Age by gathering the fattest, greasiest motherfuckers in town and making them jog in place until they sweat all their sweat out of their body to fill a giant spray bottle of their stinky, disgusting excretion to spray around town to cancel out the fucking SPF 9000. So the entire town stinks like shit. That's his solution. Great. Remember the one time Jimmy almost destroyed the entire planet with a meteor because he wouldn't just listen to his mom? Jimmy decided to invent his own over-the-top suction cannon juicer to fill his own fucking ego, since juicing an orange like a normal human being is below him. Of course, after ignoring his mom, telling him not to do it, he fires it up, and as usual, the invention backfires. He destroys the entire kitchen, launching pots and pans and other shit into the sky at such a high velocity that they escape the Earth's gravitational pull and hit a meteor at such a high force that it causes it to careen directly towards fucking Earth. Jimmy created this overpowered machine just to make juice. I mean, no one knows what's happening during the moment. Later in the episode, Jimmy goes to like one of these project showcases at his school and shows off floating magnetic plates and totally just outdoes everyone in their school, to the point where they tell him, you're so smart, why don't you just leave us alone and go to college already? Like, they're tired of him every day showing them up and making them feel inadequate like fucking worms. So Jimmy goes, oh man, no one likes me. I gotta be just like everyone else in town for them to like me. You know what he does to fit in with everyone else? He makes himself mentally retarded. Like, he doesn't make himself stupid. He's mentally retarded to fit in. That's how he views his fucking peers. He thinks they're mentally retarded compared to him. Eventually the meteor starts careening towards the Earth. They can see it, and everyone's preparing for their ultimate demise. Like, they're accepting their death. But the kids around him have to clean up his mistake, fixing his fucking brain with his own invention to be able to have him to fix, again, another one of his own mistakes. And all Jimmy does is put magnetic plates on a rocket to reflect it. Like the Earth was going to be destroyed thanks to Jimmy's mistake. Fucking Jimmy Neutron. Remember when Jimmy's getting bullied at school, so he creates 2 living nanomachines, little nanobots that have sentient life. That sole job is to protect him wherever he goes. That's what they were born for. And at first it's working great. It's stopping all the bullies around him, and they keep him totally safe. But obviously, because this is Jimmy Boy Genius, everything gets fucked up and goes wrong. The nanobots go overdrive, and they go out of their way to harm people in situations in which they don't need to do that. So Jimmy created these imperfect machines that go haywire and do too much to try to keep Jimmy safe. And Jimmy, instead of trying to find a way to resolve this and fix their programming, hurts himself, punching himself in the face to confuse these poor machines that didn't choose to be born and were created with flaws by Jimmy. And Jimmy causes them to like self-destruct and blow up. That was Jimmy's solution, is to cause like immense suffering and pain in these robots who are not knowingly doing anything wrong. They're just doing what they were told from birth. Like, how much worse do you get? But there is one of the easily most immoral and fucked up things Jimmy has ever done. Brobot. Jimmy tries to convince his mom and dad to have a baby so they can have a little brother, since nobody wants to hang out with him because he's fucking annoying. So after they say no, he takes it into his own hands and creates a little robotic brother, completely sentient and alive. He's alive, has emotions, and is responsive. And at first he likes Brobot a lot, but after some time, Brobot starts taking attention away from Jimmy. His parents start paying more attention to Brobot, his friends group prefers hanging out with Brobot, and of course, because this Jimmy Neutron has a fragile ego, he gets sick of fucking Brobot for stealing his precious spotlight and tries to get rid of him. Like, at first he sticks his brother on a bus in an attempt to abandon him in a random town on a one-way trip. Not only that, but he takes pride in this action. He goes home busting down the door and says, "Mom, Dad, your one and only son is home." Like, he's proud of what he did. But of course Brobot comes back. Then, one of the darkest turns in any episode of Jimmy Neutron. Ominous music is playing, and it shows Brobot strapped against his will on a table, with Jimmy walking and standing over him. And he asks him, "What are you doing, brother?" And Jimmy stares at him and says, "I'm deactivating you. I'm turning you off." So Jimmy is literally okay with turning him off and killing him, ending his existence, which is Jimmy's fault because Brobot is now an inconvenience to him. He's playing God and is willing to kill a child because it bugs him. So he then like weeps a tear, maybe slightly having some sort of moral like turnaround in his fucked up brain, but short circuits the child. But he's fine, he comes back alive, he's whatever. So Jimmy, seeing that he can't even kill fucking Brobot, says, "You know what? I'll do the next best thing." So he creates 2 more for a total of 3 robots, Mom and Pop Bot, including Brobot. He makes 3 sentient living beings that did not ask to be born, and puts them on a rocket and shoots them and abandons them on the fucking moon. He blasts them into space, abandons them on a godforsaken abandoned rock to live their life alone where there is nothing in space. Honestly, which is worse, just having your life ended or having your brain degrade from being on a fucking barren wasteland the rest of your entire existence, which may never end because you're a robot? These are only a handful of things that Jimmy Neutron's done. He's a menace to society. A lot of the things he's done don't benefit the planet, they only cause problems. He only puts people in immediate danger. He puts people at risk. He can never just be a good person, listen to his parents or his peers, and just be normal. Like, he can resist the urge to be an asshole and do all these ridiculous things. He could just be normal. But no, he chooses to be a walking weapon of mass destruction. So, honestly, Jimmy should be annihilated. Jimmy should be honestly killed for the better of humanity. He should be strung up like a fucking criminal and have his like brain scooped out with a fork. I'm tired of Jimmy. And I'm sorry that I had to bring you this news, but really, honestly, go back and watch Jimmy Neutron. There's a website called Kiss Cartoon. Go there. Watch Jimmy Neutron. Notice how many times it's his fault, how he reacts to situations where like he doesn't care unless it's directly affecting him, and how he goes about solving these problems. He's okay with causing bodily harm to people, putting them in danger, destroying the earth potentially, unless it's an inconvenience to him. So he's okay with not only that, but torturing people afterwards, manipulating them, making them do his bidding. But as soon as it's an inconvenience to him, I should stop. So I'm gonna stop now because I'll go on forever. There's plenty of more examples. Go into the comments if you have any more examples of what Jimmy's done. Jimmy Neutron's a fucking bastard. He's a cretin. He is a menace to the entire planet and should be killed. You should not look up to this creature. He is awful. That's all I have to say. That's it. I'm done. Fuck Jimmy Neutron. Thanks for watching. Fuck Jimmy Neutron. Goodbye.